Okay, so this is the first video that I'm going to just talk about anxiety. No, it's not so much depression. I think it's anxiety and fear, just those two together, based on what is happening right now. Because I could only imagine that if you previously had problems with anxiety, with everything that's going on, it'll get worse. But I would like to give you some tips. Okay, so the first thing, if you could please write notes. And as you can see, I don't have notes either. I meditated and I prayed and I asked for my higher beings and light angels to guide me right now with the words that I'm going to say. I do not have anything written. I just finished my other video. So I'm going to trust my intuition, and I'm going to trust these high light beings that I have felt with me for many years now, that they've been guiding me, and that's just another story of things that they've done for me. But so the first thing that I am trying to put myself, because I've been through anxiety like you have no idea. I've been through anxiety. I've tried to commit suicide 4 times, been hospitalized twice. The first time that I battled cancer, ovarian cancer, that I found out was when I was 8-9 years old. I was just confessed this by my older sister and my mom, that they kept it from me because they were like in denial. They didn't want it to believe it. But I do remember the doctors and the surgeries and how that's why I was not going to be able to have family, but yada yada. And then the other cancers that I've had, 4 in total, and in 2 of them they sent me home to hospice. So I know how it feels with anxiety. So I'm going to tell you, maybe that's why I've also had these ugly feelings and just wanting to give up on life, and have tried to commit suicide. I've been labeled bipolar. I've been labeled dissociative identity disorder. So many things. And I have 2 psychiatrists and 1 psychologist, but 0 medication, because everything that I've been through, to them, they're like, how do you manage not to go insane? Or how come you don't taking this medication? And I tell them, I have my guides, my intuition. Whenever I feel that something is just going to stir up in my mind, when you have a lot of mental issues, you just know that chatter is about to begin. So I had to discipline myself. So I'm going to share what I've done. So if you could write this down. The first thing that we have to do, it has to be between prayer and meditation together. But try to always have with you soothing Zen music. Try to have soothing Zen music throughout your house whenever you're working. Headphones, you're working out. Try to have that. Try to look for binaural, the solfeggio. Let me show them to you. Just bear with me. I know that there's several out there. The one that I use in Amazon, it's by Stephen Harper. They're called Deep Theta. We'll actually start with abundance. But it's Steve, you're going to see it. It's like this. They're called abundance. So we're going to listen to those right now. I use these. I have them in my kitchen, in the bedroom, when I'm going to sleep, I have them with me all the time. They help me meditate. I have severe adult attention deficit disorder. I cannot watch TV. I haven't seen TV shows. I don't know, it's probably going to 10 years that I can't. If I see a movie, I have to be doing something else while I'm watching a movie. Whether I am drawing, I'm doing my art, I'm doing jewelry, I have to do something. And then my husband, he's like, can you just watch a movie? And I'm like, I can't, my mind. So imagine how I had a hard time to meditate. I would close my eyes, try to meditate. Within 30 seconds, I was thinking of something that I forgot to do, what I have to do, my kids, the work, the floor, or maybe this is not comfortable enough. Maybe I should just go put something else. I would always find an excuse to get up and do something. Always. When you start, because it takes practice. So what I did is meditation is, to me, meditation is prayer. When you're talking to the divine, to the Heavenly Father, when you whether you're in a meditative state, you know, going with your hands like this. Some they have this figure that goes, you know, right in the root chakra, or you can do the prayer pose and just be in a calm, still position. No matter what position you hold, if you would just practice, even if it's just for 5 minutes, 3 times a day, when you wake up in the morning, of course, we need to go to the restroom and then come right back before you're like fully alert, and just sit down in the bed and just meditate. Do not think of anything, or just do a prayer. But the reason that most yogis say, don't think of anything, that is where the key is. The key is that at the beginning, when you do your prayer, where you're going to meditate, you ask the Great Spirit, or you ask God to do a protective circle around you, that only those beings of your highest benefit to be around you, that only those beings that are light, like your angels, to be around you for the next 4 hours, or if you want to do it for that day, to help you be in peace and balance. And then you have to go to your heart. How do you go to your heart? You have to think of the most loving picture. You have to picture the most loving situation in your life. For example, if you have children, just visualize when you're in this position. Just visualize that your children are hugging you and just saying, you know, "Mommy, I love you," or "Papi, I love you." If you have your pet, your dog, how he greets you, and when he's with you, that feeling that you have. So once you're in that position for a good, 30 or 40 seconds, you slowly start to smile. It means that you're being heart-centered. You have to surrender your mind. You just have to be mindful of your breath when you're breathing. Just be mindful of it. Once you do that, you have to do that for about 5 or 10 minutes. What it's going to do, you're going to like reset your mind. You're going to not allow anything that's negative to flow in. It will bring down your blood pressure, your anxiety. You can continue throughout the day by continuously listening to Zen music. Zen music plays a very important, at an energetic level. Music is going to either make you happy, make you depressed, get you all riled up, it will change your mood. If you're depressed, you're going through a heartbreak or whatnot, why in God's green earth would somebody be listening to depressive music? The minute that you hear the first notes of that song, you could be crying your eyeballs out. That is self-torture. We have to be very mindful and be in control. You have to be in control of your mind. Always think with your subconscious. Always visualize yourself that your much wiser self, your higher self, you being like your own, and your own guardian angel, and you're like right here. Visualize yourself. Nobody's gonna be listening to you, so it don't matter if you sound crazy talking to yourself. It's okay. So you're going to be telling yourself, why listen to that kind of music? Why do this to yourself? And just snap out of it. Snap out of it. Immediately go to some Zen music, some uplifting, maybe jazzy music. That's better. You have to do that conscious decision and catch yourself every time you're like digging yourself down a hole, or you feel you are like you're in quicksand. You have to immediately figure out, what exactly are you doing? Why are you feeling like this? Did you see a video? Did you see a movie? Did you go back reading some old text? Did you let your mind daydream of old thoughts? When you start seeing yourself like in a third person, analyzing and going deep inside you, that's when true, genuine change is going to happen. We have seen pictures online or memes online where it says, the answers are not outside. We need to search within. What does that mean? It's exactly what I've just been telling you, that you need to start thinking a little bit like in a third perspective, and catch yourself doing things that you are self-hurting yourself. And that is the first step on rewiring your brain. Let's say you're a person that you're just very pessimistic. So let's say that somebody reads something to you, or you hear something, and you always have to think the worst. You always have to see the bad side of it, or you always have to have something to criticize, or that is not fair. Well, what about this? Or what about that? If you catch yourself doing that, from this point on, you need to be very mindful. Start analyzing yourself. The minute that you start hearing yourself blab those words, well, how come this is not fair? Immediately just calm down and like float float outside your body. Look at yourself, analyze yourself in a very loving way, and ask yourself, why are you reacting that way? Do you really think they're talking about you? Do you think this is just a generic? Do you think that maybe what the person is trying to say, the context of it is a lot more broader? Could it be possible that what they're trying to say does apply to somebody else, but it doesn't apply to you? So you just carry on and you move on. The minute you do that and you picture yourself, that is when you start going into that quantum field of a higher consciousness of yourself. That is when then you make that conscious decision to either turn off that kind of music, or start reading something else, or just simply say, I do not have to react to what I just read or what I just saw. I do not have to react. It doesn't pertain to me. And even if it did pertain to me, I'm just going to take it in. It might not make sense right now, but maybe in the future it will. And then you move on. So that's one of the second step. The first one was always be surrounding yourself with this kind of beautiful music, like we're listening right now. Always surround yourself with that music until you've noticed that you are strong, and then you can go back and let other musics, because music, depending on the megahertz that they are being recorded at, it has for example, classical music, it literally enhances your brain because of the megahertz that they're being recorded. There is science behind it, and do a research and look into it, and you will more be convinced on that. The second thing to do is that the first one was the music. The second one was start being or thinking or seeing yourself a little bit in a third person, so you can start rewiring your mind, how you react and how you perceive and get things. That is the second part. The third thing that comes to my mind is a question that I always ask myself. What is this trying to teach me? What is it that I need to learn? So I'm going to put here the word learn. What is it that this situation is trying to teach me? For example, right now, everything that's going on with the economy and the coronavirus. If you have a genuine fear, your anxiety is kicking in, the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what is this trying to teach me? And the first thing that will come to me, I'm talking about myself, is, okay, Linda, why are you nervous? Why are you afraid? Why is it that you are letting your heart rate rise? And then I'm going to analyze. And I'm going to say, it's because they're saying that there's this virus and that there's no cure, and that it's going to spread around, like wildfire, and that they're saying that there's millions of people that are going to die, and that there is no cure. And I'm seeing everywhere that they're people that they're just dying. So yes, initially, just by saying those words, anybody can have a nervous breakdown. But now you have to think in the third perspective and analyze it. So now we're going to go a little bit more in depth. You're going to interview yourself like a psychiatrist would. You know how psychiatrists, they lay you down, they lay you down in bed, and then they ask you, well, how do you feel? And what did they say? And whatever they said, how did you feel? Why did you feel that way? And then you say it. And then the psychiatrist will ask you, why do you think you reacted that way? Why do you think you felt that it wasn't loving? And then you answer. You see what psychiatrists do? They they're not messing with our minds, but they go in, and we're over there. We are meditating, because we're laying down. Sometimes they have soothing music, but we're laying down there like this, and they're asking all of these questions. And towards the end of the session, we feel better because we answered our own questions. And that's what we're going to do. That's what you should be doing every single day, or every time you're going to have a reaction. So let's go back to the coronavirus. You're seeing that there's people dying everywhere, and there's a lot of deaths. So then we're going to face the situation head on. We cannot run away from reality. We need to face it head on. How? we're going to look at the numbers. We're going to say, okay, China, there's billions and billions and billions of habitants. How many are dying? What are the numbers? And then you jot down. And then you realize it's not that scary. And then we look around. What is scary are the speculated numbers. Those speculated projections, that is what's scary, okay? So there's two things you can do. You can either believe those speculations that millions and millions are going to die, or you can choose to say, I am not going to sink into fear based on a number that, I don't know, something in between, either God, higher beings, light, vaccines, or doctors, you know, something can intervene right in the middle and just stop it right in its track. So you can choose to say, you know what, it could happen, but I believe that there is a good and a higher purpose that is going to work for our favor. Now, if you choose to do the other one, if you choose to sink in and believe that millions and millions are going to die, well, then let's dig down that rabbit hole. What if it is true? What if it's that millions and millions are going to die based on a speculation? So then what I will do, because this is my life and this is the life of my children, why is it that I'm in such a peace? Why is it that I am not scared? Is because I already went down that rabbit hole and I said, okay, I wrote down millions and millions are going to die. So then I had to figure out, what do I have to do to survive? Me and my family, what do we have to do? And having the community in mind. So I went, night after night, restless nights after restless nights, I started seeing videos from doctors. I am an empath and I read energies. So if I didn't get a good vibe from a doctor, or if I noticed that these doctors, they could be doctors, maybe not, because I do not trust the media at all. Zero, nothing. I don't trust it. But I would come across doctors, genuine doctors that you could feel and you could sense the genuine love, and that they were so concerned about the massive hysteria and panic. So there's one in particular that I uploaded in that group, Be Thankful. It was Dr. Price. And I listened to him. He got emotional. I noticed that everything that he was saying was genuine and truth to his heart. And he has had years of experience with infectious diseases and different pandemics. So when he said, I'm just going to paraphrase. One, in order for you to get it, because it is airborne, you would have to be sniffing around that area for 15 to 30 minutes in order to get affected. And depending on everybody's immune system, probably you have a 20% chance to get it if you were there for more than 15 to 30 minutes. He went on to explain that the only way to get this coronavirus, if, millions and millions and millions are going to die, is if you touch an infected area and you go to your mouth, eyes, or nose. I said, well, then there's the solution. If I want to protect myself, I'm going to stay home. If I want to make sure that my kids and we don't get sick, what is the number one rule? Nothing to the face and to the mouth. So if I'm going to go out, I'm going to put a mask, but not because the mask is going to save me because it's airborne. I do not, because doctors are now saying it is not airborne. It is a very, very heavy protein type of virus. The only reason I'm going to wear a mask is so I won't be touching my face. I'm not going to take my kids out. Why? Because I know my kids. I know my little girl. Every time that I'm looking at her, it's like, Ariana, I'm always after her because she either has one finger or the 3 fingers in her mouth. She's 5. So because I know that, they haven't gone out with me when I have to go do my errands. Why? Because I am being mindful. In order for me to keep my calm and be peaceful, and I already know the facts of how can I protect myself and my family and the community, then I know my kids they cannot get sick. If they don't go out there, how are they going to get sick? And every time that I go out there, that I have to, according to what this Dr. Price had mentioned, is that, and many, many other doctors, is that the virus is very weak, that it is an extremely weak strain of virus, that even one drop of that Purell or disinfectant, it is more than enough to kill it. So if you're in the cart, if you're shopping, you have to go to the doctor, just have your Purell with you constantly all the time. Try to have either or a mask or a bandana, and that will be problem solved. Number 2, what's another fear that you might have with coronavirus? Is do you honestly feel that you can starve to death? If that's the case, we need to learn from nature. We need to learn from nature that when we see those Animal Planet shows, I love seeing those mama bears and the leopards and everything, how they are constantly trying to find jump obstacles. They try to figure out a way to feed their young. So what we can do, if that's your fear, start making phone calls. Do a meditation so you can calm down, your voice, your thought process, just to calm them down, and dial the 211. What are different food pantries around the area to protect yourself? If you have family members, this is not the time to be shy and mention, hey, I think I have enough food for about 2 weeks or so, but do you think you can, you have something to spare? This is your life and your peace of mind that you're that we're dealing with. For example, in my case, we do a lot. We do fishing and hunting. So from day one, I always said, oh, I don't worry about food. Worst case scenario, we're going hunting or we're going fishing. Not everybody can go hunting and fishing, I understand, but you have to, once you meditate, your mind, you'll be surprised, especially if you go outside. If you meditate outside under a tree, I kid you not, I don't know, it's some type of wisdom that ideas, they start, flooding you, insights that you never thought that you would have possible. Just try it, really. My iPad, since it's wireless, I always take it with me in the back of my house. I meditate under a tree and I listen to that, and I'm there 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. I have a problem, so when I pray, I put it out there and I'm just there contemplating nature, and I will wait for something to show up, and lo and behold, always something comes up, because nature also gives us a lot of wisdom. That is how the universe, God, the higher beings, that's how they get through with us, giving us that insight, that intuition, that survival. So what you need to do is, whatever your fear, your number one concern and fear that you have right now, what's going on, just write it down in bullet points, and then tackle each one of them individually. If this is your fear, look into and see how tangible is that fear. For example, in the millions. Or that if you go outside, like in those movies. Sometimes there's some that make it seem that just because you're going outside, you're going to catch it. No, we are supposed to educate ourselves. For example, when the doctors would tell me that I'd only had either 2 months to live the first time, and then the second time is based on this and everything, you only have, the most we could probably prolong your life is 3 years. I don't care if it came from doctors, from oncologists, from one of the most prestigious hospitals in the world. I had to prove it, and I had to see it myself. Why? Based on what? And then if I would see that there was somebody that survived, I had to go in and dig deeper. What did they do? How did they overcome it? Right now, there are countless and countless and countless of stories of children, of elderlies, of 90-year-olds, of 100-year-olds that overcome this. That's when we go in, and that gives us another sense of fear, of peace. Of peace on how to overcome this. So there we go. Our third point is, one of the ways to settle down anxieties is gathering facts. But listen, when you go out there to investigate and gather facts, you have to set an intention. The intention is not to feed more of the fear. You're going to go with the intention. You're going to go with the intention that no matter how ugly and the numbers that you see, you're not looking for that. You're not going to pay attention to that. You're going to be looking at the survivors. Alternative things. What can we take? What are antiviral? I already put some videos on how there's, or maybe I didn't. I have to. There's that olive leaf oil. There's oregano oil. There's elderberry syrup that you can do at home, that within 6 to 7 hours it starts killing it. How every day you can do a tea. These are from different doctors that have come out for the vitamin C. Warm water with lemon, dandelion tea. So many things that you can do to boost your immune system right now. If you start getting any kind of symptoms, once you know on hand what exactly you're going to do and how, the reason that I have a lot of faith on the olive leaf oil is because I have saved puppies with the parvovirus, because it's a virus, with olive leaf oil, even if they're already bleeding.